folks, let's have some fun here. I want to take you back to the 1970s. Remember those years? Yeah. Okay, so hold on a second. If you are 35 years old or younger, you can have a nap for the next 3 minutes while I talk about this. Okay, so 1970s with all of its sort of bell-bottom pants and psychedelic music and free love, it was a lot of fun, but it was also kind of a tough time to grow up. It was the time before the concept of everybody's a winner. And if you have little kids, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody's a winner, that means your kid's soccer team loses, but they still get a trophy. That's cool, that's nice, but back in the 1970s, there were some winners and there were some losers, and I don't know, I kind of got the feeling I was a loser sometimes. I mean, I was a skinny little kid, I had fuzzy hair, I wasn't really great at much, and, I was the kind of kid who was the last to get picked for the team, the last to finish the exam, the last to sort of fill out as young girls, young women do. So, it was your classic late bloomer. I never quite fit in and thought I was good enough. So, is anybody hearing me out there? I mean, who feels like that sometimes, or had that feeling? I think we all do. We all get those moments of doubt, right? I mean, you find yourself asking, even in your adult life, does it seem like everybody else has a bigger house, a nicer car, a better job, a this, a that, and you start wondering, hey, hold on, when's it going to be my turn? When am I going to get my big break? And when are things going to look up for me? Or is this it? Does it not get any better? Well, I'm here to encourage you tonight, folks. I want to let you know that maybe everything's going to be okay in the long run. Maybe you are just a late bloomer. But guess what? That's okay. It's totally okay to be a late bloomer. Let me give you a few examples. A few classic late bloomers. How many people in the room know that both Steve Jobs and Bill Gates dropped out of university? Did you all know that? There you go. Incredibly, wildly successful men. Now, what would have happened to those guys if they had given up too soon, too early in their lives? I mean, just imagine what the world would look like today. First of all, there'll probably be only maybe 5 people in the room because we wouldn't have our insanely addictive personal devices and computer technology, wouldn't have led to social media, blah, 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 yada, yada. I think I'm starting to learn Yiddish. Do you get that feeling? So, where would we have been if these guys had given up too soon, okay? Another example, Albert Einstein. Okay, the poor guy got expelled from high school, never even got a chance to enter university, and then lo and behold, later on in life, he goes on to win the Nobel Prize. I mean, that's exceptional, unbelievable. Then there's our friend Donald Trump. Well, okay, here's the thing. Donald Trump isn't a late bloomer, but I just wanted to draw a connection between crazy hair and being a genius, so just put that in your back pocket. You don't have to conform to make it in life. So it doesn't just stop there with Donald Trump and science technology. I don't know if you're familiar with the name Peter Roget. He invented or developed Roget's thesaurus. He didn't actually develop that until he was 73 years old. And Colonel Harlan Sanders, KFC founder, didn't start KFC till he was 65 years old. And he had a tough time because when he was 6 years old, his dad died. And then by the age of 12, he had to quit school and take on many odd jobs just to help his mom raise his younger siblings and put food on the table. And now when he finally developed his secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices, he had to get in his car and drive around America from restaurant to shop it around until somebody accepted it. And now, I don't know if any of you know this story about Colonel Sanders. He was rejected 1,009 times before the recipe was accepted just once. I want you to think about that. My husband is in the audience today. Hey, boo, say hi. Now, my husband is an awesome guy. We've always had a very close relationship, but I'm pretty sure that if he had asked me to marry him just twice, and I said no, he would be out the door. Across from my husband is my sister. She might have been Mrs. Burrell instead of me. I'm sure not many people have that much patience. 1,009 rejections. Now that is just sheer determination. It's incredible when you think about it. So then, I started thinking, what's up with late bloomers, and how come some people find their lot in life early and some people not? I mean, think of Mark Zuckerberg. Did I say Zuckerberg? Zuckerberg. Facebook, dude, okay? By the time he's 21, he's raking in billions of dollars. So what's the difference between him and just regular people like me? So I thought about this for a long time, and I came up with a lot of reasons why people don't find their way until later in life. But because I've only got 10 minutes to speak, I've distilled it down to 3 reasons. Now, one reason people don't find their way until later in life is because maybe they just don't have role models. Now here's an interesting observation in human nature and social behavior. Ever notice, whether it's high school or university or beyond into an adulthood, that the musicians don't hang around with the athletes? See, the thing is, if you want to be successful and you really want to make a way in what you want out of life, you've got to hang around with people who've been there before, who are experts, who have a bit more expertise, because they can be your mentors, they can be your leaders and your role models. So the sooner you really get connected with those people who are in that groove, the sooner you're going to be on your way. Now, another reason why I believe people end up being late bloomers is because, you know what? Life is unpredictable. Stuff happens. And when stuff happens, you find yourself so busy taking care of other priorities. Now, there are 2 people in my life who've really influenced me a lot, whether or not they know it. My dad is in the audience. It's Escobar over there with the hat on. So, Dad, you and Mom really influenced me a lot. My parents met when they were very young, and they also had me when they were very young. I guess what you could say is I'm kind of a surprise baby. So, surprise baby was 9 pounds of screaming, crying, eating, pooping baby. Just baby. And then my poor parents had to put off all their plans until they raised me, basically. So all their thoughts of, going to prom and hanging out with friends and traveling, that had to be put aside for a while. Now they could have been totally discouraged, but guess what? When you start early, you also end early. I wasn't a baby forever. I grew up, and my parents were still young enough to really enjoy the good things in life. So I want you to think about that the next time you have a setback in life. Setbacks are not permanent, they're temporary, and that's why they're called setbacks and not failures. Now the other thing that I want to make you think about is sometimes people don't get a start till late in life because they're just not ready. They're just not ready. It reminds me of a story of a little old man. He's sitting on a park bench and he's looking out over towards the park area, and he sees a butterfly sort of struggling to get out of its cocoon. And it struggled and struggled and struggled for about an hour, and it seemed like it was stuck. So now the old man thought, okay, I'm going to really try to be helpful here. I'm going to give him a hand. So he reaches into his pocket, he pulls out a pair of scissors, and he starts snipping away at the cocoon, and he lets the butterfly slide out of it easily. He thought, oh, that's great. But unfortunately, the butterfly came out and it had kind of like a swollen body and really limp wings. What the man didn't realize was that the butterfly needed to struggle, because that struggle would give him the strength to push the fluid out of its body and into its wings so it could fly the way it was intended. So I want you to think about that as well, that if you push things and force them and try to work your way into a spot before you're ready and prepared and strong enough and mature enough to really live it out fully, you're going to run into trouble. All things in their own time. So just to wrap up, I want to let you know it's okay to be a late bloomer. And you might ask yourself, well, how do I know if I'm a late bloomer? See, here's the interesting thing about late bloomers as they go through life. They always have this little tapping at the back of their mind, saying, this is okay, but I just get this feeling that I was really meant for something bigger, for more than this. It seems almost like God has implanted a seed inside of your brain to say, hey, this is okay, but I know there's something else. I just get this feeling, this deep-rooted passion that I'm not satisfied, and I know that I can do better. So don't feel pressured to reach your highest accomplishment at a young age. Don't feel pressured to work under anyone else's timeline except your own. Just ask yourself, am I a late bloomer? And if the answer is yes, hold on. best is yet to come. Thank you.